If you're interested in making films with your action camera, check out Action Camera Filmmaking. It's on Amazon right now in paperback and for Kindle. And if you're running low on money, there's also an economy version of it. So check that out. And if you're new to YouTube, I have a book called The YouTube Producer's Handbook, also on Amazon in Kindle and paperback formats. Hey guys, Nathan Brendan Masters. This is probably going to be the last video I do about the new monetization rules, but I've had a little bit of time to think about this, and it's very easy to go in on YouTube about what they do, what they don't do, how they treat smaller YouTubers. So we can always go in on that and talk about that. But something else I want to talk about, and I don't think it gets as much conversation as it should, is the bad actors, the people who actually are part of the reason why this is all, why these things are necessary, okay? So, when we can put Logan Paul aside, we can put PewDiePie and people like that aside, we can put, and I don't even consider PewDiePie a bad actor. I think PewDiePie was just doing his thing and he got screwed over by the Wall Street Journal. But when I say bad actors, I'm talking people who are intentionally doing things that mess it up for those of us who get who are in this thing for the love of it and who want to do this for fun and profit. So let me get something straight up front. I am not one of these people who feel like, well, why are you doing YouTube for money? I don't want to hear that nonsense. People have a right to search out ways to make money to, help themselves and their family, even if it's just extra money on the side. The idea that you shouldn't do this one thing, if you shouldn't do YouTube for money, why should you do any type of creative thing for money? It just doesn't make sense. You have a right to seek out financial compensation for things that you do. If YouTube wasn't offering money, I could see that argument, but they are offering money. So I don't begrudge anyone who is on YouTube trying to make money. I have a problem when you're on YouTube doing shady things and taking money from people, stealing things from people, doing things that will harm the community at large. And let me tell you where I'm coming from with this. I've been on YouTube since I think like 2007, 2008. I was on YouTube way back then. So this is what I call the Lisa Nova decade. This is when Lisa Nova and Philip DeFranco and Little Locke, people who a lot of you don't, aside from Philip DeFranco, a lot of you don't even know the people I'm talking about. I think the guy What the Buck, he was around at that time, and a few other people were kind of making it. Lonely Girl 15, she was around. A few people were making it big on YouTube at that time. And those were the few. Those were the people who had like a lot of views, and people knew who they were. Now, one of the things that happened was way back when they had what's called a director's account, which means if you were, like myself, a filmmaker, you could make movies and put them up on YouTube. Guess what happened? People who didn't want to do the work, but they wanted views, they were uploading other people's copyrighted movies. Now, here's the thing about the online community. Copyright, they have this issue with copyright. Some people believe in it, some people don't. There's a lot of people online who feel if I can get my hands on it, I should be able to upload it to YouTube or upload it and do whatever I want with it. The people who created it be damned. There's a lot of people who feel that way. Those people are bad actors. And because of those people, YouTube cut it down to 15 minutes. So you could only upload 15 minutes when you were actually able originally to upload for, I think it was like 2 hours was the cutoff, somewhere in there, because you could upload movies. Now, what they did was they made it when you got partnered, you were able to upload longer. So when they opened partnership up to everyone, I partnered my channel and uploaded Wages of Sin. And it was only like, I think it was like a month later or so that I noticed Wages of Sin was getting all of these views. Actually, it may have been maybe a week later or something, but it had like 10,000 views already, and it was climbing. People were watching it. It was one of the few original films on YouTube at the time where someone actually took a film that was their original content and uploaded it to YouTube. So this opened a lot of doors for me, where I understood that, okay, here's a platform I can actually get paid for the work, which is what I was intending on doing, getting paid to make films, getting paid for my art. Now, when YouTube talks about bad actors, what they're saying is people who have come onto YouTube and they're trying to game the system. Now, all of us in some way, shape, or form try to figure out the system, figure out the algorithm. That's not what I'm talking about. When I talk about gaming the system, I'm talking about people like the people who are doing the clone channel. And I was a victim of this as well. Clone channels, they would see someone's channel that was doing well, and they would start just uploading their content. Like they would take all their popular videos and just upload them to this channel. And sometimes these clone channels, because of the speed that they were uploading, like if they uploaded 5 videos a day, they could possibly get more views on your video than you're getting. And they were monetizing these videos. Now, some of them kind of wisened up and said, I'm not going to monetize, but even then, it's still copyright. You're still getting people to view that content on your channel, taking away from the original content creator. So that was something that was very big on YouTube. It happened to me. That channel is now has been shut down. But other people it's happened to other people, and for some reason, it didn't seem like YouTube was doing too much about it. So apparently that was a bigger thing than I knew it was. But I knew it was happening. I just didn't know it was as big as it was. Now, one of the things about that is there are people who come into YouTube and they want to make money, but they're not willing to do the work. When YouTube does something, it seems like it's heavy-handed, okay? And sometimes it is. I still think that this is heavy-handed. But I have to also acknowledge that there are people involved in this that are doing wrong. And it's not just YouTube. Now, again, I still stand behind the idea that YouTube does shady stuff. I'm not going to say that they don't. The biggest issue with YouTube is that they don't communicate. So when they do things, it comes off as shady, and people start saying, it does seem like every time you do something, it makes it harder for the creator. So when they did the you got to get 10,000 views thing, I didn't really have too much of a problem with that. 10,000 views, not super hard to get. You should be able to get 10,000 views. Even 1,000 subs, it gets iffy right there, but I can even see that. The 4,000 hours of watch time, when you break it down, yeah, it doesn't sound as bad, but it's a stretch for people who, again, are just reaching their threshold and they're really trying to get something started. Now, we talked about, I did a video about why why I kind of lost my motivation for YouTube. It wasn't just the views. Money was part of it. So let me explain how YouTubers work. If you're just starting YouTube, this is going to be very important to you. If you're already here and you're trying to grow your channel, trying to grow your community, you'll already understand this. You'll already know this. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know that I went through a series of cameras. I had a T3i, which I actually sold and bought 2 Sony NEX cameras. I sold those and eventually bought this one, which is the Lumix G7. So I basically bought better equipment. And I got to a point where I had everything I needed, and I was going to start doing various things, kicking various things into high gear, and I was going to do that with my YouTube revenue. And then they changed the algorithm. Now, I know people tend to blame everything on the algorithm, but this was very specific, and I talked about this before. This was very much to, and YouTube's pretty open about it, they were very much trying to stop people from gaming the system. Like I think Gamer from Mars just did a video about the reply girls. They were trying to stop stuff like that. Okay? Now, they stopped that fine with switching to a watch time algorithm. I had no problem with that. That worked perfectly for me. animators did take a toll on animators though, so that was kind of a thing. But other than that, the watch time thing I didn't have that much of an issue with. And I'm always for the small YouTuber who's doing something different. A lot of animators are doing something different. But aside from that, I had no real issue. But what also seemed to be an issue is that they wanted people to have a fan base already. And we talked about that in other videos. They wanted people to have a fan base coming on. So that's why a lot of people from Vine and Instagram and all these other places were able to come to YouTube and bring an audience. One of the problems that is constant with YouTube is there's always bad actors. So there's a lot of people who took advantage of the search algorithm, like you had the reaction channels, which I don't have a problem with reaction channels, but you had reaction channels that were doing reactions. A lot of times they're just sitting and watching the stuff and just kind of every once in a while they would smile, say something. Yes, I know H3 and people like that did reactions, but look at how they do reactions versus the so-called reaction channels, how they did reactions. It's a difference between looking at something and talking about it, and some people who just sit there and watch these things. And one of the things about YouTube is people think it's a way to make quick money without doing a lot of work. And it's not. It's really not. And so the one thing I will say that this does is it makes people have to work harder. The problem is I think that because of the way the search algorithm is now, because of the way things work now, I'm not sure you can be discovered as easily. And that's always my thing, is discoverability. The one thing that YouTube has is because it's essentially Google, the search algorithm is very important. And your SEO and how you take advantage of that search algorithm is a big key. Also, now it's going to be important to kind of do the most you can to get people across platforms to come to your channel. So that's going to be a big thing now. It's going to be a huge thing. And that didn't used to be as important as it is now. So that's going to be a new thing for me. And it's something that I already kind of do, but I don't do it as much. Facebook isn't going to be like as good of a platform. There's ways you can use Facebook, but it's not the best. They're very antagonistic toward YouTube now. They want to kind of have a video format, but they don't know how to do it. So there's part of me that say, I understand what YouTube is doing. I still think there's a better way to do it. There's a better way to do a lot of things that YouTube does. But, it is what it is. And I'm not one of these people who's going to tell you to stop complaining. I'm not that guy. You have every right to say, especially as a small creator, if you're really putting your heart and soul into this, you have every right to be upset. I don't like it, and I actually meet the criteria. If I were smarter, I really wish I was smarter. I could have a greater channel by now. I could have a larger channel. I could actually have different streams of income at this moment. But I wasn't smart with my branding. I wasn't smart with a lot of the things that I was doing. I wasn't as smart with it as I should have been. But I am now. I'm getting better at it now. I'm learning to pull these things together. And that's something that this should actually teach you. And I do think I'm going to go further into that. Maybe some point I'm going to talk about, and I talked about this, I did a video about branding. I'll link that at the end. But that's something that you're going to have to be good at now. You're going to have to be branding yourself, saying, this is who I am, this is what my channel is about. And you're going to have to be really good at selling yourself as opposed to just my YouTube channel. So you're going to have to be able to really put yourself out there and say, this is what I'm all about. This is me, and you need to know who I am for these reasons. And those reasons have to be good to make people say, I want to watch this person's video. I want to buy their merch. I want to see what this person's up to, and I want to associate myself with this person. I want to associate with this brand. There's a lot of creators on here that I really like. And I say, that's the kind of stuff I want to do. And that's what I want you to get to that point. I want you to get to that point where you're saying, this is the kind of thing I want to do. And now there's still some things that I have a lot of problem with. The way YouTube does demonetization, that needs to really be fixed because it seems to be very random right now. If the machines are supposed to be learning, they're not doing a good job at it at the moment. So overall, guys, I did want to come back and revisit this topic, and I didn't want to let bad actors off the hook because they've been plaguing YouTube since the beginning. So it's not new. And what they've been, just to kind of tell you, at the beginning I talked about how people were uploading full-length features. People do that to this day. They upload full-length features. Now I'm going to say something, but one benefit I get out of this is that there's a bunch of people who upload copywritten material. They upload copywritten films to their channel. Okay? They upload these films, and what they do is they get a lot of views. I think they view bot. There's a way that they view bot, get a lot of views, and those people will be able to quickly reach the watch time hours and then monetize their channel, right? Because there's now a process that YouTube has to go through to see if your channel can be monetized, YouTube will probably not monetize those channels because you don't have the right to upload copywritten material. So that is something that would be helpful. Now I'm saying this knowing how YouTube handles things. I'm already on the point of thinking they're going to botch it, but I don't want to be that guy, okay? I don't want to be that guy that just assumes they're going to do the wrong thing. But it will be interesting to see how much copywritten material gets on YouTube. And it's also good to see those channels get demonetized because there's a lot of filmmakers out there and people like myself who are actually putting in the work to make feature-length films. People watch YouTube to get away from television, to get away from Hollywood, to see something different than what's there. So they're watching us. So having more eyes on independent features, whether it's mine, short films, whatever it is, having more eyes on that, that's a good thing. So I'm going to definitely say that. But other than that, guys, you take it easy. Nathan Brendan Masters. Hasta.